Hi, I'm Gracen, and this is my story. So I grew up with my mom reciting John 3:16 to me, and I would recite it back to her. And I remember my mom and dad always telling me I was fearfully and wonderfully created by God. So I went from that to going on to 8 years old, and I knew and I had a relationship with the Lord, and so I got baptized. And through that, I knew that I was saved. I knew that I was redeemed. I looked to the Lord whenever I was in times of just complete hurt. I would look to God, and I knew that He saved me and that He loved me past my sins. So going from 8 years old, being this joyful little girl that everybody was like, oh wow, she's really, really happy and always has a smile on her face, to middle school, where I let the rejection of that I felt from people really get to me. And I let these lies settle in to the point where I would go home and write down on a piece of paper almost every day. I would write down everything that I thought people were saying about me. I remember writing down you're not enough. You're just this obnoxious, annoying, loud person, and nothing you say matters. And I would look at these things whenever I was upset, because I was finding comfort in this pain. I was finding comfort in just looking at these lies. And that's the way God created me. He created me a little bit louder, and that's okay. So I just remember by the time I got to high school, I just really was in a dark place, to the point where I was not this fun, spirited person anymore. I was just dark and didn't have a smile on my face. I had kind of gone inside of myself and wanted to just stay there. And so my mom and my dad had both seen this, and my mom forced me to go to this women's conference with my sister, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go to this women's conference. This is not going to be fun. And so I went, and the woman that was speaking there, she said, I can feel this suicidal spirit in here, and I pray to the God right now that you would deliver that spirit right now and free that spirit from this person. And I remember my heart was beating so fast, and I was looking around, and I was like, it's not me. But whenever you say it's not you, it's you. That's how I felt. I knew it was me. And I was looking at my sister and my mom, and I was like, okay, well, they don't know, so we're good. I'm just gonna, the coast is clear. I'm just gonna act like this isn't happening. So they went up to pray, and I was just kind of minding my own business as the song was playing, and I was just kind of clapping along, acting like I was into it, even though I wasn't. And this woman comes up behind me and says, you are loved. And I just fell into that woman, and I started crying. And I know why I started crying. It was because for the longest time, whenever I would hear truth, whenever I would hear, you are loved, or you are enough, I would just wince at it. I would be like, no, I'm not. I wanted to stay in the lies. I wanted to hold on to what the world was saying I was, what the devil was saying I was, rather than seeing that God says that I'm loved and He accepts me for who I am. So now I live my life going to school and seeing people that are struggling, and I just try to love them the way that God loves me, and I try to see them the way that God sees me, with love. And I might be rejected by them, or I might be rejected by people, but I know that I'm accepted by God, and who he says I am, and that's all that matters. And I no longer see my wounds as trophies. Instead, I give my wounds to God, and I say, you can have them, and he gives me a hug. So that is my story.